what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chad Sports. Coming up on today's show, we're diving into 5 blockbuster NFL draft day trades for your Minnesota Vikings, as it's looking more likely than not that the Vikings will be trading up in this year's draft and landing possibly the franchise quarterback for Minnesota. But before we dive into that, if you guys want the Vikings to draft a quarterback, it's simple. Give me a like on today's show. Send a message to the Vikings front office. Maybe we got Kwesi's niece, nephew, son, daughter, whatever it may be watching today's show, and they're coming across this and they see that I asked you guys to like it. Hey, maybe we could hit 1,000 likes. Send a message to the Vikings brass that the Vikings fans want a quarterback. So if you guys could like today's show, I would really, really appreciate it. But I do want to start back and looking back in time and looking at past draft day trades, because I definitely think that matters in terms of looking at how much it would cost to trade up for a quarterback. So let's go back to the Carson Wentz trade up from the Philadelphia Eagles. They were picking pick 8, and they wanted to get the pick 2. What did it cost them? Well, it cost them a 3rd and a 4th round pick, and then a future 1st, and then also a future 4th. So not that big of a haul. But let's kick it to Washington. When they traded up for RJ3, also took Kirk Cousins the same year, which is absolutely incredible that they took Kirk Cousins and RG3 in the same draft. Pretty funny to think about. But to move up from pick 6 to number 2, it took them an additional 2nd and 2 additional first-round picks. So, hey, it's going to take a lot to trade up. Just keep that in mind. But this was my overwhelming offer. This was my... I don't want to say this is my Godfather. No, I will. This is my Godfather offer where it's like the Vikings are going all in on Drake Maye. A lot of you guys are going to freak out. But this was the trade idea I cooked up. It's the Vikings obviously getting the number 2 pick. And then the Vikings will be sending picks 11, 23, and a 2025 first and a 2026 first to move up. Low context for you guys here. It took the Rams, if we're looking back at this trade, it took the Rams, or the Commanders, to move up 4 spots. It took them 2 first-round picks and an additional 2nd. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But then also this. With the Vikings trading up to number 2, I understand this is a massive offer to give up. But let's just say let's just say Drake Maye turns out to be Justin Herbert or Josh Allen, whatever quarterback you want, because those are the 2 he's been compared to the most. I promise you, when the Vikings are competing for Super Bowls in years 2025 and 2026, we will not be worried as Vikings fans about those first-round picks. We could look at the Los Angeles Rams. When they went all in and they traded Jared Goff and 2 first-round picks for Matt Stafford, a lot of people were freaking out. They got one of those, though. And I'm sick of the Vikings being stuck in the purgatory zone of the NFL. Either be so bad where you just are naturally drafting in the top 5 where you can go get that franchise quarterback. Or you go all in and you compete for Super Bowls. And I think if Drake Maye works out and he lives up to that potential, it could happen. But let's just say the Commanders say no, and they're not trading. This is another trade that could go down on draft night. With the New England Patriots, the Vikings getting the 3rd pick, then you would be giving up picks 11 and 2023, but only 1 future first-round pick and a future 3rd. So let's just say the Commanders, they want to take Jayden Daniels, which a lot of signs are indicating that. Maybe the Vikings send a pretty heavy offer to the New England Patriots to get that 3rd pick, and then you draft Drake Maye. That is honestly for me one of my dream scenarios that is likely, is that the Commanders take Jayden Daniels. Patriots don't necessarily love Maye too much, and they are calling the Minnesota Vikings, seeing what their best offer would be. Telling you guys, I understand giving up first-round picks is, it's tough because you don't want to completely sell the farm on something that could work, but with where the Vikings are at, I just think it makes a whole lot of sense for them. Now, let's talk about this trade. So this would be with the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is likely. However, I think the Vikings may need to throw on more draft capital. I think the Cardinals really, really like Marvin Harrison Jr. But I don't know if they would accept this. Maybe the Vikings have to throw in another first-round pick or maybe another 3rd, but this would be most likely to get a guy like J.J. McCarthy. And maybe the Vikings do have to throw in another first-round pick to go get the Michigan quarterback. Well, let me know if you guys would do that. Would you trade 3 first-round picks, 11, 2023, and the 2025 first-round pick for the Michigan quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. My answer to this, hell yeah. I would definitely do it. I think McCarthy's going to work out, and I think specifically in Minnesota, we would see him flourish. And when I'm evaluating quarterbacks, I feel like too many people just look at, what they did on tape last season, and they don't necessarily project too well. In terms of me projecting what J.J. McCarthy could be in the NFL, I think he could be a stud. I think he could be a borderline top 10 guy and maybe even live up to the potential of being a guy like Joe Burrow. I've seen that comparison thrown out there, and, it's a lofty comparison, but I don't necessarily hate it. But let me know if you guys would trade 3 first-round picks for J.J. McCarthy. I got 2 more trade ideas coming up for you guys in just a second, but first off, I want to tell you guys about this sweet deal we have going on at chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. If you guys hit that link and check it out, you guys could pick up an Aaron Jones jersey today. They got a sweet deal going on right now. So if you guys want to help me out, help support the show, and rock a pretty sweet jersey next season at US Bank Stadium, I'll tell you what, this would be my number 1 jersey. If I could pick any Vikings player against the Green Bay Packers, I'm wearing that jersey 2 times next season. So if you guys want to get your Aaron Jones jersey, let me know. If you guys could hit that link and check it out. chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Let's kick it to trade idea number 4 here. So this is what I'm going to call my most likely draft day trade. This is with the Minnesota Vikings trading up with the Los Angeles Chargers, giving up picks 11, 23, and a future 3rd-round pick. In this scenario, I think J.J. McCarthy falls down the board. The draft would go Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye. Cardinals take Marvin Harrison. And then the Vikings call up Jim Harbaugh in the Chargers front office and say, we are going to give you that offer. Do you accept? I think the Chargers would because, I think the Chargers have a roster with a bunch of holes in it. And I think maybe they would do this. And why I call this my most likely trade is because I think this is a trade that won't go down until we're right before the Chargers pick. This is something that, the Chargers, we get the notification, Chargers on the clock, and us Vikings fans are all freaking out. We're like, we're not taking a quarterback. What's going on? We're not trading up. Then the Vikings come in last second because I don't think the Vikings would risk having a trade up in the NFL draft if it's not in the top 4 before draft day, just in case somebody ends up jumping Minnesota. So I think this is probably my most likely, I'm going to say it. This is my most likely trade for the Minnesota Vikings to go down on draft day. But, hey, obviously we're just going to have to wait and see what goes down next weekend. But trade idea number 5. This is actually thrown out there in a recent mock draft by PFF. And this had Drake Maye falling down the board. And this would be my dream scenario. So this would be the Vikings giving up pick 11 and a 4th-round pick and then trading up to pick 9 with the Chicago Bears and drafting Drake Maye. This is what PFF had in their latest mock draft. Actually, their lead draft analyst, Sam Monson, had the Vikings taking Drake Maye and Michael Penix, which I think would be completely idiotic. But, hey, in this scenario, the Vikings getting Drake Maye at 9, sign me up for that. That would be another dream scenario for the Vikings, where you would still have your pick at 23 to go get a corner, to go get a defensive tackle, go get an edge rusher, whatever it may be. This would just be, we would be jumping for joy if we see Drake Maye start falling down the board. Then the Vikings trade up to 9 just in case. They don't want to risk anybody jumping them right there. So, hey. All right, here we go. Let me get your guys' thoughts on this. Who will the Vikings draft with their first pick? Maybe it's 11. Maybe you guys think they trade up, but predict it for me down in the comment section who you guys think the Minnesota Vikings will draft in the 2024 NFL Draft. As always, guys, want to make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Trying to hit 25,000 subs before draft time. So if you guys are new here and watch this entire video, I really appreciate it first off. But clearly we're doing something you like here. So hit that sub button, lock us in, and hey, you're just going to get more Vikings content on your YouTube page if you guys hit that sub button. So I would appreciate it. Hit that sub button. See you guys next time. Skol.